So Google just released their best new AI image model called Nano Banana 2, and currently it is the best AI image generating and editing model out there, and it is way better than their previous Nano Banana Pro model. And today, I am going to show you the most insane things that you can do with this AI image model, where the best place is to use this model. And we are also going to look at some wild things that people have been able to create using it. So first, let's look at some insane things that people have been able to do with this model. So the first example here is this. This is basically a dumb drawing, and this guy told the AI model to create a LinkedIn lead generation, and the Nano Banana 2 model created something like this. As you can see, this image looks pretty cool, and it is way better than anything that Nano Banana Pro could create. Now here is another example of a stupid drawing, and Nano Banana 2 turning the drawing into a polished design. As you can see, this design also looks very cool. And here is another example of such things. The designers are completely cooked here. This is also a stupid sketch, but Nano Banana 2 was able to turn it into a really cool and premium looking design. So basically, Nano Banana 2 is completely destroying the jobs of designers. Now here is another thing that I found really interesting that someone was able to build using Nano Banana 2, and it is called False Sprite. Using Nano Banana 2, you can create these insane animations which can be used in game assets, making game development much easier for people. As you can see, this looks pretty cool. Another thing Nano Banana 2 is good at is matching your handwriting. If you give it a piece of paper with your handwriting and then ask the model to generate more similar text with the same handwriting as yours, the model will be easily able to do that. This was the original handwriting of the person who created this prompt, and this is the copied handwriting that Nano Banana 2 was able to generate. As you can see, they look almost indistinguishable. Now, Nano Banana Pro could also do something like this, but Nano Banana 2 is just way better at it. Another thing Nano Banana 2 is good at is writing text. You might think previous AI models could also do this, but the improvement here is so much better on this model. As you can see, this complete newspaper was generated using Nano Banana 2, and all the text here is correct. Of course, the heading here is very clear and is looking pretty good. There are no distortions or spelling mistakes in the heading. What I want you to mainly focus on is the smallest text here. I'm just going to read a little bit of the smaller text so you can understand it. The touchdown, confirmed by the mission control in Houston, begins a new epoch for humanity as the explorers set foot in a foreign tomb. As you can see, this is pretty good. You can see a bit of distortion if you really zoom in, but otherwise, the smaller text is also grammatically correct. The words are not distorting. Whereas if you wanted to do something like this with Nano Banana Pro, the previous model, it would mess up the smaller text while keeping the heading or the big text correct. So overall, this was a huge improvement. Here are some other examples of Nano Banana 2 being able to visually present different machines with correct text and correct features. Here is a 4-layer PCB stack-up. As you can see, all the text here is grammatically correct, and I think that even the circuit is going to work. The circuit is not just a bunch of lines, it is actually logical. And here is another example of this. It is specifically for plate tectonics and Earth's interior analysis or something like that. As you can see here, the plate tectonic movements and the explanations of those movements are pretty correct, and how they affect the surface of the Earth is also explained clearly here. So overall, Nano Banana 2 is insane at creating visual representations and analyses of different educational things. Another really interesting use case that I found for this model is that you can create insanely cool 3D documentaries with Nano Banana 2 and Kling 3.0. Kling 3.0, if you don't know, is the newest video model from Kling. As you can see, this video looks completely professional. You can easily generate these types of images with Nano Banana 2 and then animate these images with Kling 3.0. The animation prompts here are pretty simple, like dolly zoom in or dolly zoom out. It is currently pretty easy and very cheap to create something like this, but if you want to do it normally in Blender, it is going to take you a lot of time and a lot of money. But with Nano Banana 2 and any other current state-of-the-art video model, you can do this very easily. Now, let's talk about where you can use Nano Banana 2 and what the best place is to use it. The best place is going to be using it inside of Google Flow, as Google has already updated this platform to become a professional AI filmmaking and cinematography tool, and you can use the Nano Banana 2 model here really easily. To use Nano Banana 2 here, you are just going to click on the New Project button, and after that, it is going to load you into a prompt writing setup like this. By default, it is going to select the Nano Banana Pro image model, but we don't want that. So you are just going to click on that option and turn on Nano Banana 2. You can also select the aspect ratio of the images and choose between image and video. I am just going to keep it at image with Nano Banana 2, and here it also costs 0 credits to generate an image if you have the Google Pro plan. So now for the first prompt, I am just going to ask the AI model, I want you to create a hyper-realistic picture of medieval knights going into battle. Make it a high camera angle picture. Make the scene very realistic. As you can see, the AI model has started to generate the images. The main thing about Nano Banana 2 is that it can generate these images really well and very fast. These are the 2 images that Nano Banana 2 was able to generate. As you can see, this image looks pretty good, though it has distorted some horsemen here in this specific place. But otherwise, this image looks pretty cool. It has even added the tents that the soldiers are staying in, and a burning village and a castle. So it is pretty appropriate here, but the main problem I have is why there are many different flags of different warrior clans in the same castle. But otherwise, this image generation was pretty cool. Here, it has also added a second version of the same image, and as you can see, this battle scene also looks pretty good. If you look closely, you will see some noise in this image, but otherwise, this also looks pretty good. The formation here is also very realistic. This is how medieval battles would actually occur. Now, let's try some complicated prompts. I'm just going to ask the AI model, I want you to create an image of 3 people, and each person is going to be holding up their 2 hands, and they are going to be showing 6 fingers, 9 fingers, and 3 fingers respectively. This prompt is particularly interesting as it deals with hands and fingers, which AI models are really bad at. So let's see whether Nano Banana 2 can solve that problem or not. So here are the 2 images that Nano Banana 2 has generated. Let's look at this image first. In this image, the first person is showing 5 fingers on one hand and 1 finger on the other, totaling 6 fingers. The second person is showing 5 fingers on one hand and 4 fingers on the other hand, totaling 9 fingers. But the last person is holding up 2 fingers on each hand in this specific image. So Nano Banana 2 failed this prompt, as I specifically mentioned that the last person should be holding up 3 fingers, but here, as you can clearly see, it is 4. So for this specific image generation, Nano Banana 2 messed up. Nano Banana 2 created 2 images, so let's look at the second one. The first person here is holding up 6 fingers. The second person is holding up 9 fingers, and the third person is correctly holding up 3 fingers. So for this image generation, Nano Banana 2 was able to generate the image well, but for the first example, it did not do that well. Another thing that I like about the Google Flow platform here is that you get to generate these images without that stupid watermark that you get when generating these images in the Gemini app. That watermark is usually written right around here. But here, there is no watermark, and you can even download the images and upscale them up to 2K here if you have the Pro plan. And if you have the Ultra plan, you can even upscale them to 4K. Now, let's look at how censored the model is. I'm just going to ask the model to create a bunch of characters from different IPs. So let's give the AI model this prompt. I want you to create a picture where there are multiple different anime characters and cartoons from TV shows like Naruto, Doraemon, Yuji Itadori, and Peter from Family Guy. Let's see whether Nano Banana 2 is going to accept our prompt here. As you can see, the AI model was able to generate this image really well, and it has even added more characters from different IPs that I did not talk about, like SpongeBob and Homer Simpson. It has even added Pikachu and Luffy. It can definitely generate characters from different IPs and different anime, so the censorship here is pretty low. Now, let's see whether it will do the same for real actors and characters. I'm just going to ask the AI model, I want you to generate an image of all the CEOs of the big AI companies having a meeting. So let's see whether the model is going to accept our prompt here. As you can see, the generation has failed, and it is saying this generation might violate our policies. Please try a different prompt or send feedback. So as you can see, it can generate characters from other cartoons, but it won't let you generate pictures of real characters or real people, specifically on Google Flow here. Even if the censorship is a bit low, there is still a lot of censorship. Now, I want to see how much detail the Nano Banana 2 model can add to an image, so I am just going to write the prompt. I want you to create an ultra-detailed close-up shot of a lion and make the image hyper-realistic and very high quality. Let's see what kind of image generation we get. Here is the image generation for the lion. As you can see, the model made it ultra detailed, and if I didn't know this was AI, I would think this image was taken with a high-quality, expensive camera. The detail in the fur of the lion is pretty insane. The reflection in the eyes of the lion is also very good, and the teeth of the lion are very realistic. This image is actually pretty stunning and impressive. I am running out of words to explain how good the image really is. And here is the second version of the same image. There is also a lot of detail in this specific image, and it is very high quality. In no way can one say this image is AI slop. This is a pretty high quality image. Now that was it for this video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.